Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Claws After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. Today we're talking Season 1, Episode 9, and we have a very, very special pill-popping guest, so don't move a muscle.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Claws After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. We have Jason Antoon here in studio. You guys already know, but Jason, of course, plays Dr. Ken on the show, and we're so excited to have you, Jason. Thanks for being here today.
I mean, if you guys see the setup here, you'd be like, what? It's amazing. You're gonna get buzzed. You're gonna get buzzed.
It's most people walk in here, they say, "Oh, it looks bigger online." I don't know if you guys felt that way when you first got here, but we use our space well, I think, very efficiently.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Jason,
we've got awesome engineers too with the cameras.
Yeah, I'm like, all the technical stuff is so beyond my pedigree, but they pay me to sit here and just talk about our favorite show on TNT right now, Jason.
Is it your favorite show?
Claws is that deal.
Yeah.
It's
Claws
really
is that
sweet.
deal.
Good.
I tell everybody because everybody's like, "Oh, were you watching?" Because I shouldn't say this, but I often, do a read. Like I'll watch the episode like twice at work before I come here, and they're like, "What were you watching?" I'm like, the show that you need to be watching."
Yeah.
But we have the best time doing the show with everybody in the cast in New Orleans, eating, drinking, music. I mean, the catering alone with a pig. We had a pig one time for lunch with crackling. I was
Nice.
like, what's crackling?
Really?
We're like, just put it on your plate.
Well, Jason, if people want to connect with you online, where can they do that?
Oh, well, my name, Jason Antoon, at
Perfect.
Twitter, at Instagram,
And
Facebook.
We can't wait to dive in and talk about both your character on the show and the episode. Before we do that, guys, my name is Jeff Graham. If you want to find me online, you can do so at Jeffrey C. Graham.
What's up, guys? My name is Mariel Turner. You can find me online at Mariel_Turner on Twitter and Instagram.
And I can never make it simple. It's Chaos J, KAASJ on Twitter, Chaos_Oceans31 on Instagram. Oceans, why? Because your boy's so wavy.
So wavy. Just like this episode. Man, this whole show, Jason, Claws is very good. Did you know it was going to be kind of like, I'm sure you had a sense on set that it was going to be a hit, but it's very, very good, and in ways, it's so much better than it could have been.
I mean, when you first read Elliot Lawrence's script, the pilot script, you're just like, this is amazing. It's so unique. And, it used to be, it was going to be a half hour at HBO. HBO had it for about a year before, HBO sits on everything and it takes forever for anything to be produced. So when they got when Warner Brothers got it back and they, TNT with the new regime at TNT with Animal Kingdom, and then they got a hold of this, they're like, expand it to an hour. And so that's the script that I read. And I was like, wow, I'm never going to get cast in this. Too good. There's going to be too many people.
Right.
And when in the Dr. Ken role, I couldn't even get in for an audition because it was going to be an older sort of, they didn't know, Niecy wasn't even for like, a black woman it was like, at least she's available. What about her? And then they sort of, you know how it goes.
Right.
And
Yeah.
So I got in at the tail end, which is sort of what my career has been. Get in at the tail end because they've tested the role. They didn't like anybody. I come in and I'm like, okay, great. That's any way to get a job. Like, why not?
Yeah.
But the script alone, the story, like the blueprint of anything is that.
Right.
And if you can't, it's kind of actor proof in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I've been in high profile stuff that doesn't go. But this is it's too unique to not, especially on cable like TNT.
Well, it's a confluence of everything because you're right. It's an amazing blueprint, and in some ways it's actor-proof, but they did assemble such a special cast for the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
So diverse. I mean,
We're
like you're working with all a bit crazy, which
in
is
real life, like in a fun way though. And like those women, it's all about those 5 women. Those 5 women have to be they're the stars of the show. I mean, it's like Reverse Sopranos where it's their women and the men, us men, are like we're the supporting roles,
Yeah.
Well, and even your character subverts ideas of traditional sexuality on the show because, of course, you're trying to get in Polly's pants the whole entire show.
Well, it's because on
He's
set,
like, I am thirsty. I'm thirsty for your
Just for a
love.
date.
that's all improv. No, because on set, they get to know your personality in the beginning, and like I'm a Scorpio and I'm a pretty crass, sexual person. They start to write it for you.
Right.
So that happens, and that's my own fault.
Fair enough. What's it like acting with Carrie Preston?
Carrie's the best. I knew Carrie in New York and her husband. When I lived in New York for 15 years, I would run into her, see her in theater. She went to Juilliard. We graduated the same year. I was at Carnegie Mellon, Juilliard. She's the best. She is so fun and so normal in real life, but you just have a great scene partner. And just to play with someone who's goes for it. Because everybody goes for it on the show. It's not subtle.
Right.
It's definitely not subtle, and we pull it off, I think. But Carrie she's a goddess.
Well, you guys play so well together. We have a chat up here with a lot of fans who are tuned in live. Jimmy Pink says, Dr. Ken, you are great. You crack me up with your thirsty, paranoid ass.
Yeah, Jimmy Pink. Is it Punk or Pink? Oh, it's Pink.
I think that's Pink.
Okay, Jimmy, let's do it.
So you were telling me before we went live that you shot in New Orleans, and it was much hotter and wetter than I think we're seeing on. What are some of the production secrets you can tell us about?
The production secrets are just have mosquito spray. They have a mosquito index in New Orleans.
Wow, what is that? So every day it's just
7, dangerous 8.
Oh my gosh!
And you're like, I'm like spray. I don't want to get bit. Zika, West Nile. It's below sea level, so. Living in New York, I was like, I got to get into the Duane Reade because it's air conditioning, and here it's like I got to not ever be outside.
Yeah.
But being production, like in the beginning, it wasn't as rainy, and then you hit rainy season, it's like delayed exterior scenes.
Yeah.
We have old Mardi Gras World warehouse where we shoot. That's where I think, and Queen Sugar shoots out there too as well, which is also a Warner Horizon show, and it's a lot of it is just battling weather. Rain. If a storm is passing, we're like, gotta shut down. The water's leaking through the thing. Guy fixes it. Next rainstorm. I mean, the rain that comes down. If we had it in LA, we'd be like, look how green it is. It's the greenest land in the world. One rainfall. Wow. And so that affects production and everything. But it's a fantastic group of people. From Janine Sherman Barrow, she's our showrunner, executive producer. We have all these females. We have Rashida Jones, Will McCormick. They were the ones who brought the script. I mean, everybody is like our cool cats. There's no a-holes. There's no dicks. And these women are bosses. They're just queens in all their own personality. They're diverse women. And but everybody's really fun and nice to be with, and that's a rare thing. There's always one dick. But there's not as many dicks as there are V's, So
that's why.
I think so.
Right. I think every, cast and crew should be like that.
Yeah.
From a woman's perspective.
Absolutely. It's great. And it's like the show is such an empowering show for females. And it's got, it's already a special show because we talk about all the time. It's really well plotted, and the writers have a really strong sense of tone, first of all, because the show, if it made one wrong move, it might kind of go off the rails, but it always pushes just far enough to kind of titillate you as an audience, but it never goes too far. But yeah, again, casting, it's just so cool that it's such a female-driven, it's a very special show, so congrats on being a part of it.
Oh, believe me, jobs come and go, and when I've done 7 to 8 pilots over the course of my life, and none of them have gone to series as a contracted series regular. And series regular money is not a joke. It's I've guested and this and that, and once you start having kids, you're like, I don't know, this is not enough money to make a living. So this kind of job with this unique kind of wacko story that's not on primetime television, because I don't know, this wouldn't go on primetime.
No. Right.
And it's just like, you gotta count your blessings. And I hate to say #blessed, but
do it.
#blessed.
That feels like something Desna would say. So
it does.
It flies. Well, how about we go ahead and talk about the episode? And then, of course, if you guys have questions for Dr. Ken, please ask. Wait, let me see. If Dr. Ken makes shit worse,
No!
Darius.
Threats already.
Why do you guys think I'm going to make shit worse? I'm not going to make shit worse.
He's like a lovable crazy.
He's a goof.
Yeah.
But I think you've dialed it back. We had a few episodes where you were kind of pinging kind of hard, but I feel like you've dialed it back.
Life is hard for Dr. Ken.
Right, it is, but I feel like he's kind of got it under control now. If he can just get, Polly to just jump on board full throttle, I think everything else will fall into place.
Yeah, we had a nice little scene last night.
Yeah.
I was, I don't see it until we do. We don't know how it's going to come across, and I was like, I was really happy with that, and It felt like there was a little bit of a normalcy because someone like a character like mine, you know, I've got 2, 3, 4 scenes an episode maybe, depending on how heavy Dr. Ken is in the episodes. And so you have to function a certain way. I can't sit there and be like, I'm gonna take a 12-minute pause because it's about me. But Roller, he's like, hey baby, what's, you know, and then and it's like, that's not Dr. Ken.
I hear you.
Dr. Ken was like, I've got to go, and I'm sort of the comic relief, like, and it's hard to find that tone of like, okay, how much do you want? You still want to play it real, and the situations are crazy. So that is what I think being the way it was cast. Everyone's a little bit like heightened, but good. You can still sort of like, you know, I'm gonna bring it.
Yeah.
Well, it's so believable. It's such a believable world. And it's like, we talked about how it's kind of this like Florida core. Like it's like this weird Florida thing that like Spring Breakers, I don't know if you saw that movie, but it kind of explores the same kind of thing. It's a really cool aesthetic. And like, you're allowed to kind of play it heightened because it's still, I think because the environment and the circumstances are so heightened, it all works.
Yeah, I agree. I think, because I was a little worried too. I was like, he might think he's a little borderline too crazy, but I think it's definitely like kind of fleshed itself out, and it's definitely the comedic relief, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I also want to say too, not to cut you off, that I feel like Bryce taking over has also made things a lot calmer in the clinic as well.
Yeah.
So it's also taken a lot of stress off of Dr. Ken.
Yeah.
In that sense, because that's one less thing he has to worry about. He can just do his job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was, I think, from my first conversations with like Elliot and Janine about the role when we were doing the pilot was, you know, he's a disgraced doctor. This was his in back where he's still licensed. But look at it, he's getting into some serious shady shit. His marriage is failing, and with this kind of guy, and sort of what I do as an actor sometimes is, you know, you're it's like my saucer bug eyes, and a lot of it makes people crazy, it makes people nervous. But once they gave Bryce and I stuff to do, he's the best, and we had the best time, and we just have a really good time, and it's fun stuff.
Well, you're getting some love. Darius says, you're my favorite Dr. Ken. You always keep me on the edge of my seat, no matter what you do or say.
Yes.
So.
Wow.
Yeah, you're definitely a fan favorite. And what I love about this show is I feel like all of my characters are my favorite. It's like each episode I'm like, oh, Polly's my favorite. And then we were going to get into it, but Quiet Anne this episode.
Holy God.
Oh, I know.
We've been waiting for Judy all season because we know she's an amazing actress, but she's quiet. That's her character. And we're like, there's going to be a moment. Should we start with that scene? We're going to talk about the episode.
Yeah.
That scene between Quiet Anne and Polly was amazing. What did you guys think of finally letting her get her moment?
I think it was a long time coming because I know we've talked about this where we, you know, are really wanting something more for the character, and it's hard when you have a character that doesn't speak most of the time. So to kind of see her show those emotions and show like she's found love and having to deal with that, I think was pretty powerful.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. For me, I like really felt for her more than any other episode. I'm just like, oh. Because Polly was like, look, like at the end of the day, you have to do this. Like, so you figure out how you want to handle your woman, but you need to get, you know what I'm saying, you need to get that on the leash. Supposed to be running wild around here. So it definitely put her in a tough spot. But I want to say, didn't you say that? It was somebody on on our previous episodes, we were talking about that, and you guys were saying that she was gonna have to make a decision like that when it came to her girlfriend, because obviously her girlfriend was just a little bit too nosy. So to see her go through that, and granted, I'm glad she didn't have to pull a trigger or anything, but to see her go through that, like my heart really felt for her. Like I really felt like, damn, because she was just like, I finally found someone. Not some random crazy jump off that I just, you know, have sex with in the van. Like, I legit found someone that gets me. Like, I'm excited about this person.
And what was interesting for us and what you guys are saying in terms of script, in terms of the sort of the arc of what has gone on, is now it feels like every character is connected to the bigger overarching thing of the mafia and the pills and what happened to Roller and all that stuff and the investigation of it. So it gives, like, the urgency and a sort of antagonism to each of those characters. And then when we get something to play like Quiet Anne with that scene with her and Carrie, Judy and Carrie, is an amazing scene. Because it is a real scene. There's no hysterics. There's no like here's my one-liner.
Right.
And that's sort of like with the scene with Carrie and I, where we ended up being, even though we have that little Sally Field thing at the end, which we were so proud of doing. But no, and I feel like from script to that to our director Marta Cunningham, who's brought so many different layers to all of us, who directed episode 9. It was amazing. It really does, to what you guys are saying. It really affected everything because it's all coming. We're all connecting.
Yeah, it's all connecting. It's getting bigger and bigger, and you can just tell that these writers have this delicate high wire that's all coming together. And the new thing they say, the 10-episode season is like a 10-hour movie, and I sometimes don't like that term because it doesn't always play. But this really is like a blockbuster, and it's all and it's like all adding up in such a cool way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of rounding out characters, this whole episode was framed by a flashback with Desna and Roller. What did you guys think of this choice to kind of position this whole thing around a flashback?
I really liked it, actually, because I remember we talked about, does Roller really love Desna, or was this all just about the pills? What is the backstory there? So I really enjoyed learning that they actually kind of do have a connection, and I always thought it was just about the business.
Right.
So to see that they actually kind of do care about each other, and I think Roller actually really does love her in his own way. I think that was really interesting as a viewer. Yeah.
For me, I remember we talked about this before, and I was a little skeptical about how Desna felt about Roller. I still feel like, even though we see now that a lot of what he's doing is partly from a place of jealousy, and he's feeling some kind of way because he feels like people didn't care enough to do enough to find him when he was gone. And he's still upset about what she, contributed to with the whole boat thing and blah, blah, blah. I feel like he still is more invested feelings-wise, in her emotionally. I feel like he's still emotionally more invested than she is. I still feel like it was a means to an end. And it was funny when they were showing the montage, through the flashbacks of when she first started laundering the money. When every time he would give her a tip, the first couple times it was like, oh, like you could see, like she was like, oh wow, and you could see like a little sparkle in her eyes, and then as it progressed, you could see like she was more and more disinterested, and she just was kind of just more distant. And I felt like that also was indicative of how she felt about him. Like she may have really been into him initially, especially because he was really persistent in his pursuit of her. But I felt like as time went on, and she became more involved and
she caught the
deeper in the
bug.
Game, she was just kind of like,
Right. Well, and the thing that's so smart about the show is every decision is grounded in complications because she's doing it for Dean. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you sit there and go, you're going to answer your phone again. You're like, you forget. Wait, because Dean, it might always be about Dean.
Right.
Because why would she answer the phone so much when she's hooking up or almost hooking up with Dr.
That's
Reval?
what
Like,
I
even
said.
when I called that one time and you're like, why are you answering the phone? Because it could be Dean.
Right. Yeah, it's so great. Yeah, and I love how we've known that Dean loves Roller all season, and we've always kind of wondered why. And these flashbacks gave us so many answers.
this is very true.
Yeah.
Especially with the whole mouse scene.
The rat thing, yeah. So it's just, what a smart choice. And yeah, this show is always surprising. It's like the one thing, even if it's not one of my favorite episodes, I'm definitely surprised, which is like one thing I have to give this show credit for. So yeah, I'm glad you guys liked the flashbacks. I really liked them too. I do want to talk about, I think I want to talk about Uncle Daddy, Bryce, and Ted now in the strip club. Ted.
You know who Ted is, right?
Yeah, I recognized
Michael Emerson,
Yeah.
who's Carrie Preston's husband, 20-something years, of Lost, and so many other things. And Michael Emerson's amazing. He's
His
amazing.
appearance was so brief.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he was going to...
I know, he came and went.
Yeah.
because he was making all those threats, and I was like, oh, he's about to be a problem this season.
Right, I was like, oh, this is a setup for next season.
Right.
Like, no.
It's so weird, though, too, when you watch it and you're like tie-dye, you're like, you got this big bamboo stick that he's just bashing braid over, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because when he first walked in, I was like, oh, oh, that's the man, that's the guy. And then as he got closer to him, I'm like, oh no, he's just probably some random person.
Yeah.
Because he looked so random with his talking stick.
What a fun take on the crime boss. I'm like, only Claws would introduce like this astrology obsessed new age walking stick guy.
Yeah,
like...
he doesn't even seem really like he'd be involved in crime.
I know.
You know, he doesn't seem super aggressive
very unassuming.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's awesome.
He even closed out that whole thing with namaste.
Namaste.
I'm like, really?
It's perfect.
We're back to namaste now. Like,
it's also it's that what they call the producers are like talking like it's like a Florida noir. They like to say the show is, and that sort of craziness in certain areas of Florida.
Yeah.
So it sort of plays into that, and that like a Carl Hyacin kind of, which all of his stories are a little wacko, and that they're all set in Florida in that sense. And so when Michael's character Ted, is it Ted? Right, Ted.
Yep,
right?
Ted.
It's just you're just like it's a surprise.
Well, yeah, the show, like, it's like everything is, you kind of recognize the crime tropes, but something's a bit off. Like, every choice the show makes is borrowing from the greats, but making it its own. And that's, like, totally what Ted was.
I think it's very unique. Like, I've never watched anything even
like
remotely
this.
similar.
Right.
Yeah, it's very unique.
Oh, this is interesting. They're saying Kelli brought up a good point about Desna being tipped initially. I wonder, did Roller do that to implicate Desna, too, in case Uncle Daddy ever found... It's a good point.
I think that's a reach.
You think?
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think that's why he was tipping her. I think that was just her payment, and that's how he was giving it to her. So maybe I shouldn't have said tip.
Well,
because I mean I feel like that was her payment.
Yeah, I think.
But
you're
at
right.
the same time, you know, that was another thing is that as she was doing it more and more, it's like, okay, you still giving me the same old funky, you know, couple $1,000s or whatever, you know, whatever her cut was.
Yeah.
And you know, and then again, it's like, okay, I'm never going to get out from under this, you know, out from in between this rock and a hard place and I'm in.
Yeah.
If this is all the scratch I'm pulling in.
No, as soon as they got in, you're not getting out.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not getting out no matter what.
And I think we saw that when he, you know, when he paid those guys to take all the pills. Mm-hmm. You know, and then I don't think he expected him to come up with that money that fast.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
no.
it's crazy. So Ted dies pretty much right after.
Yeah, pretty much right after you meet him.
And of course, the person that would kill Ted is Bryce.
Bryce.
And of course,
Poor
they
Bryce.
decide to stash his body in a freezer. And of course, Jen calls right as this is happening. For me, this might have been even more than Roller and Desna's car ride, the most me on the edge of my seat stuff in this episode.
Yeah, I just think Bryce is almost at the point of no return.
Yeah,
I
he
feel like
is.
Bryce pissed me off. That's what I feel like.
Like he's using again, he's killing again, and then he's feeling guilty about that. He's feeling guilty about Jen, pushing Jen into the arms of another man.
Woo!
Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a
Did more than
mess.
push.
It's like the revert. He's just falling upwards or something.
Yeah.
You know, where we might at some point see him to the point of where he was before the show started, before he was that life coach.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, what was that? That just must be just insane.
Yeah, strung out.
Right. Well, for me, I was irritated because I feel like he's putting on extra. We already know you've proven yourself with what you've done, but now that Roller's back in the mix and Roller's kind of questioning him, I feel like he's just putting a little extra on everything now. Mm-hmm. You know, even when he kept coming down to talking to Uncle Daddy, like, you know, we got to take him out first. We got to do this. We got to do that. To when he pushes Ted, it's like, come on, man.
Right.
So you just push, you were trying to be a badass and you pushed Ted. Now he's dead. Okay, Ted is dead.
Right.
So don't start crying and freaking out now. Like, come up with a plan. And I don't know why. The first thing I went to is, you know how when you get in an accident, the first thing you do, especially with now we have cameras on our smartphones, first thing you do is you get out and you start just snapping pictures. And I don't know why. But I was just thinking the whole time when they were looking at him laying there, I'm like, start taking pictures so everybody knows that it was an accident.
Oh.
Like, because you can clearly see by the way he fell, it was an accident in a sense that it was freak in the way that he died. He wasn't supposed to die.
Yeah.
He was simply supposed to just get pushed.
Right.
Which, again, I don't know what were you thinking when you did that, because this guy literally just threatened Uncle Daddy.
I thought it was funny, though, because earlier in the scene, he's like, Bryce says to Ted, you're like, that's like the child's thing. Like, why you just have to hold a stick? And then what he does is the ultimate child's thing. Which is pushing, you just push like you would in kindergarten. And
waiting until he walked away to do it.
It's amazing. It's hilarious.
So then this is, now I'm just thinking like, okay, so you got him in the freezer. Well, how long is that going to work?
I know.
People are going to start asking.
Well, they got the chicken nuggets there, so it's all good, right? Well, I love this. Gave us a great opportunity for Jen Lyon. I mean, I feel like every character, including Dr. Ken, had a moment of earnest seriousness this episode.
Yeah.
It's like the season's really rattling toward this really exciting finale, but we got to see Jen. I mean, we've seen a lot of shades of sadness from her, because she can watch she's watching her marriage fall apart, but when she calls him, she thinks he's using. She's like, why are you in the freezer? What a great performance from her, right?
Yeah, and I think especially to see her interact with another man and kind of see her character get to the point where she feels like she has to get that from somebody else. And when you start the season, Jen and Bryce are so close. You know, they're like ideal marriage for the show. And to see her get to the point where she's knowingly making out with somebody else, it's like, wow.
Right. That was kind of a big deal. And again, it's funny because I will admit I was wrong, because I didn't see Hank as a threat.
Yeah,
I did not see Hank as a threat at all. And I guess I think it was the last episode where we saw Hank and he came in and I kind of got to see a little bit more of his physique, and I'm like, oh, Hank hits the gym. Hank's hitting these weights right now. Like, okay, Hank is about that life. Not only that, but then, you know, when you go, if a married woman, you know, has you come over to her house and you guys are having a dance lesson in their house, come on, man. Like, you know what's going down. So Hank has known all along, like, I'm gonna get that.
That's when you gotta film it like you film a car.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nothing happened.
We're just dancing.
It's on
We're just
film.
dancing. She wanted to learn the Cupid Shuffle. That's all.
Live.
I love Jimmy goes, oh, Bryce go and kill Jewish square dance, dude.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Hank's fate is threatened by Bryce's? I
don't know, because he's so hot and cold. One minute he's like, oh, I'm about to be a badass gangster. And then the next minute, you know, you're freaking out and
like
you're
crying.
all... Exactly. And then even the way he handled talking to Jen, I'm like, come on, man. Like, hey, we're in the freezer. We're moving some stuff around. I'm helping Uncle Daddy. I'll call you back. Easy.
Yeah.
That was easy. Like, you know, I just feel like he doesn't quite have a handle on things, but at the same time, I don't see him being as ruthless as he wants to be, or he wants to come off as.
Right.
So I don't know. I see him more so being upset and hurt and broken by finding out that she might be messing with Hank, or if Hank eventually gets the cash or prizes, than him actually saying, oh, okay, well, I'm about to pop a bullet in Hank. I don't see that. At least not yet. But then again, it comes and goes in waves.
Yeah,
you know, you're like a tape recorder. What did he say? You're like you're like a tape recorder, and you know, you just keep going on and on.
Right,
and
I don't
on.
want to hear it. Something.
Right.
So
he has those moments.
Well, do you guys? I kind of like Jen and Hank. What do you guys think?
No.
No?
I feel like he's a placeholder.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm not feeling it.
I mean, obviously, I think Bryce and Jen are going to have
How it come to Jesus?
Well, because their relationship is so interesting, because of course we are watching Bryce fall off the rails, and we both know they come from a history of using, and it's really interesting. But I understand where Jen is coming from, and I understand why she likes potential stability of this guy, and I don't know. We'll see. Well, of course, the only thing we haven't talked about yet is Roller and Desna in this car ride, which was really like the primary thing kind of linking everything together and carrying us through. How tense was this?
It was, I think putting the flashback really helps a lot for me, because it made it a lot more serious in a way, as opposed to just like, oh, Roller acting crazy, you know, like he typically does, or being really aggressive and doesn't try to figure it out. I think it really did, you know, give a context to their relationship, and it really was a relationship,
right?
You know, as opposed to just a business partnership. And then I kept wondering, I don't think Roller has like the balls to kill Desna.
Right. Well, I think he loves her.
Yeah, I think he loves her.
He's really hurt.
Yeah.
Right. He's like really, really hurt. I gotta say, like, I love the scene where he kind of flips out and he's just, would you like some tea and crumpets?
Oh my God, I know.
He's got that PTSD.
And he's going,
going.
right, and that's exactly what it was. And I loved it. I was eating that up. I rewound that a couple times just to hear him switch off and on.
What's Jack Kessie like in real life?
I love Jack.
Is he?
Jack's like, he calls me tunas. Tunas, I forgot the diner we used to go to. If we weren't working a couple days, because the women are like, they got the nail salon, and he's like, tunas, let's go meet here, get some eggs. And then he wants to work out. I was like, I'm not working out. So Jack works out all the time with Paul, one of the Russian guys, the one who doesn't get shot in the head.
Dreads guy?
No, he gets shot. That's Zdenko. Zdenko and Paul are the Russian twins.
Got it.
Zdenko gets shot, one with the dreads, and then Paul's the one who comes up, and Desna's like, watch out, and then he chases after him. So you'll see the continuation of that. But Jack is he's cool. He's a cool dude, but he's like Roller.
Shades of Roller.
He's Shades of Roller. He's playing the main villain in Deadpool 2. He's up there shooting that right now.
Oh, nice.
Wow,
But he's great. He's that's the cool thing is everybody is a version of their characters.
Yeah.
And that's so Roller, yeah.
It's a really special performance. It's like very unsettling.
Well, here's an interesting thing is that most people don't know this is he in the pilot he was dead. He was killed. And that was a final thing. Mm-hmm. We did the table read for when we all got cast. You do the table read for the studio and the network, and it's like a big old thing with food. And after that table read, they're like, you can't kill him, and they made him a series regular. Wow. So that affected a lot of the story arc, because a lot of the show where the Russians would have been way earlier. Mm-hmm. This is what the stuff that I have heard about. There's more pill clinic stuff, more about the pills versus in the laundering. As opposed to what was going on with Roller's a ghost, and then it's all about killing Roller and it dictating the sort of bigger picture of the story. So once that changed, so much changed.
Yeah, I bet. Right. Well, he's so great. And I want to get to my favorite scene, which was Dean and Desna's conversation. But before we do that, we do have to thank our sponsors. As you guys know, these shows come to us for free. So we would love to thank A&E because they provide us this wonderful show, Leah Remini, Scientology in the Aftermath. Have you guys seen this show?
I have, actually.
That show so good.
It is really good. And I purposely won't watch it when it comes on. And I know that sounds bad to say, but I'll wait and stack up a couple episodes so I can just binge.
Yeah.
Because it's that good.
It's very that good. So if you guys don't know, A&E's Emmy-nominated groundbreaking docuseries, Leah Remini, Scientology in the Aftermath, is returning for season 2, thank God, on August 15th. It's 10 all-new episodes. The show follows Leah Remini. You guys know she's a very well-known actress, wonderful person, along with high-level former Scientology executives and church members as they delve deep into the shocking stories of abuse, heartbreak, and harassment experienced by those who have left the church and spoken publicly about their experiences. This season, Leah Remini continues her quest to give a voice to victims of the Church of Scientology. The series also explores accounts of former members whose lives have been significantly impacted by the church's practice. Remini is helping people take action, turning survivors into fighters, revealing truths and seeking justice. Watch the first season of Leah Remini, Scientology and Aftermath online, on demand, and in the A&E app. And it's so great. I'm so glad you guys are watching it.
Yeah, it's good. Scientology. Woo.
Hey, man.
It's a beast.
It is. It's a lot.
I saw Going Clear. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I remember seeing that as well. And the only thing I could think the entire time is like, and I guess it's different when you're actually in it, but I kept thinking like, at what point, or do you stop and say, wait, this is not... Like, no, like, this is not right. Like, I can't do this. And when I say at what point, I don't mean at what point 15 years in. I mean, at what point, within like a year.
Right.
Like, something's kind of off.
But Kelli, Desna's in it. She didn't think she'd be in a car with a gun to her head. That's how it happens, right? Speaking of, I do want to talk about Desna and Dean's conversation over the phone.
Oh my gosh.
So funny.
Yeah,
That was so heartbreaking.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, wow. And then, the acting was also amazing too.
Right. Yeah, so good.
I definitely was like, oh, this is getting me a little emotional, I
know.
I really like to have sex.
Yeah, the mix of heartbreak and comedy, what a high wire of writing. Like, because I was laughing, I was crying, I was doing all the things watching that scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
Because he's so honest about everything. And so many mothers of autistic kids have been tweeting Harold and saying, thank you so much, because it's so, what you're doing is so authentic and, and it's very funny, but him as an actor, he's doing it as authentic as he can.
And he's doing a great job. My late stepmom, her brother is autistic, and he's exactly like that. Down to the hand movements.
Yeah.
He is exactly like that. And he's very, very honest and straightforward, to the point where they would say, no, Chris, you can't say that. Like, that's not okay. And we get a lot of that from Dean.
Right.
And also, Harold is the coolest, nicest guy.
Yeah.
He is so, that's what I'm saying, is everybody is just cool in their own way. And I mean that. And it's such a rare thing to say that about cast members. Maybe one or two you'll meet and be like, yeah, it's cool, and then you never talk to him again. But it's a good group, and he's awesome.
That makes me so happy. When you watch shows and you love the show and you love the people on it, you're like, oh,
you want them to get along. I want them to be friends in real life.
Well, we only have one more scene to talk about, which is the finale. How about this finale, this final scene? What did you guys think? Pretty.
It's like an action movie.
I know. At this quiet. Well, you were saying Jurassic Park.
I was saying so that is an abandoned Six Flags outside of New Orleans, and they've shot. You might recognize some of the stuff they shot, the Jurassic World stuff there, and they shoot a ton of other stuff there, and that is just so much water on the ground. That's not just production being like, we need to water the ground so the lights bounce. That's storm, and they had to shut down, open up, shut down, shoot really quick, shut down, fix things. They wanted to do this whole parkour chasing thing. So it's an interesting thing just to have that set already built with graffiti everywhere.
Yeah. No, it looked amazing.
It looked amazing.
It's one of those places I would love to go and just explore and...
just check it out.
Yeah.
So the Russians are dead. Did that surprise you guys?
Well,
I kind of sort of thought
one of them
twins are dead.
Yeah.
That's true. We still have... Right, the twins are dead. That's true. Yeah.
One, the other guy came up the stairs.
Yeah.
It looked like he just got shot in the shoulder to me.
Oh, so you guys think...
Okay.
Yeah, he came up when Desna said, watch out. It's the other dude, and then he chases him instead of Desna. So you think is Desna gonna get away? Because he decided to go after the Russian guy.
Yeah, man, what a amazing final scene.
Okay, real quick, let's jump back, because we didn't really get to talk about this. How does everybody feel about the idea of Dean proposing to Virginia?
I'm kind of here for it a little bit.
Not even.
I think Dean's gonna end up with his feelings hurt.
Right. I think she's okay with things for now because she's getting attention, and I do think she has a soft spot for Dean. But long term, I don't see it.
I actually do see it long term. I think this show's gonna... They're going to be will they, won't they all season. And then in season 10, because you guys are going to get renewed all the way, we're going to see them together. And I think it's going to be because they bring out the best in each other.
I was going to say, I could also see it going the total opposite way. And they really do have a crazy Florida wedding, you know, that. But I think Virginia's she's in too much I want to have fun, and
yeah, and she was irritating me this episode, and I know that's how it's supposed to be, but I was so irritated because she was just so vague with everything, especially when it came to her telling Polly what was going on, and I know I get it, but at the same time I'm just tell her what she said, Don't give her a snippet. Don't give her a little sample.
The Euphoria salad.
Tell her what she and the Euphoria salad. What the fuck is a Euphoria salad?
Well, we can talk
because the key is in the details.
Right, exactly. I mean, she's not a detail. Virginia's not really a details girl. No. Well, we could talk about this episode forever, but I want to get into some predictions because there's one more episode this season. So let's get into some predictions, guys.
AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
All right. What do you guys think? I mean, we can't probably ask you
I'll
because
just make faces.
Yeah. So, Chaos, we'll start with you. What do you think about predictions, man?
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, well, I'm curious to know how much money she had in that in her back closet or whatever, that she told Dean he can use to go get the ring. I just want to know, like, I think he is going to propose, so I'm curious to see what reaction we're going to get. I'm also curious to see what's going to happen with Dr. Ken and Polly.
I know.
Because we got her to drop the act because we know she has there's so many different shades of Polly.
Yeah.
Right.
And finally he got her to say, like, what's stopping us from doing this? And she just said, straightforward, I'm scared.
Yeah.
That's it. She's scared. So
I
want to see where this is, like how this is going to conclude, at least for this season. Like we're going to get some more pogo stick action. Like I
See the preview?
I want to know.
I think Polly and Dr. Ken are meant to be. Like, I feel like
they balance each other out.
They balance each other out. Like, they're both a little touch.
I think there's too much crazy there between
Really?
Dr. Ken and Polly.
I think just enough.
No, because then she calms him down when he starts, teetering over the edge.
Yeah, and then he can like rein her in when she's her personalities are going a little nuts.
As a viewer, I love it because watching Carrie Preston and Jason Antoon do scenes together.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's great.
But character-wise, I don't know.
I love it. I mean, I just think this is my hope anyway.
Yeah.
You will see the continuation of it in 10.
Oh, great.
You'll see something. You'll see it's cool. You definitely see something.
Right.
That excites me.
Okay, we're gonna see something.
My ass.
In terms of Desna and Roller, I don't know. I feel like, obviously, I don't think Roller's going anywhere. We know Des isn't going anywhere. But I feel like after this, there's going to be a lot of resentment. So I don't think they're going to just bounce back. Even though I know she's trying to sell him on that idea, like, it can just be us, baby, us against the world. I don't really feel like that would, even if there was an opportunity for that to happen, it's going to happen like that. He's harboring a lot of ill will towards her based on her helping Virginia get rid of his body, and putting him in that situation with Crazy, and then she now you just called me all kind of names, put the gun in my face, you're trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's doomed.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I could see any of these scenarios playing out any kind of way, and I want to make predictions right now, but like the finale has so much potential to do anything that I almost feel like I can't.
Yeah, it's almost impossible.
Especially with this show,
I feel like Desna probably will get away. I think her girls are gonna somehow save her. I don't know exactly how.
Well, Polly, right? Well, yeah, because you remember Polly knows.
Yeah,
that she's
Polly
figured it out.
knows. So I think they're gonna be able to, like, maybe Desna's running, and they're gonna be able to find her. I do think there's gonna be some animosity between Desna and Quiet Ann, because Quiet Ann had to sacrifice love for her. So I think the resentment will be there. Dean and Virginia, I have no idea.
Okay, real quick, shout out to Evan. Who's now going to take over Nail Artisans.
Boobs. He's got boobs.
He's got those boobs.
He has boobs now.
We had him in episode 2.
So shout out to him, because I feel like we're going to get to see something at least next season.
Yeah.
With him running Nail Artisans, because they're pretty much. I get the feeling like he's going to end up bringing in his own crew. And the majority of them are going to go with her, the Glint. So I feel like that's a whole nother storyline that we're going to get to explore, hopefully.
Yeah.
So much.
And Uncle Daddy's not going to be happy with, I love that baby dick. Like,
I know.
He's going to have a problem with him, being away.
His boo, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the show's done such a good job. One of the things I was thinking was even all these seemingly minor characters like Hank or Toby, or even at the beginning, seemingly Dr. Ken, have all had these great moments. The show really, rather than using co-stars to kind of tell the story, they really do a good job of pulling this huge ensemble together. So there's so much that could happen in the finale, but we're not going to know until next Sunday, guys.
And most of the cast, we're all going to be together live tweeting the West Coast feed. I think it's the West Coast feed.
Amazing. Awesome. Okay, cool.
So we will be there, or at least the 8 o'clock Central one, depending on. We're all going to be at Carrie's house in LA.
Oh, that's so much fun.
For the fans.
Well, if you guys want to extend an invite to the after show. I'm totally joking.
Hashtag Claws TNT.
Yeah.
Hashtag he's not joking.
Well, Jason, we can't thank you enough for being here today.
Thank you for coming to hang out.
Yeah, this was so fun. What I want to do now is let the people know what else is going on with you. Where can we see you? I mean, obviously, season 2 of Claws. When do you guys go into production?
I think I don't know exactly, but probably January. Mm-hmm. And whether we do a 10 or 13 episodes, I'm not sure exactly.
Hopefully 13, right?
I mean, they gave Animal Kingdom 13 on the second season.
Great.
Oh.
So I don't know those logistics, but we started at the end of February, right before Mardi Gras, which brought us into rainy season and ended in the end of June. But so hopefully June. I'm back to being a dad.
Nice.
I was recurring on Famous in Love, the Bella Thorne show.
Oh yeah, we covered that. People love that show.
I play a dicky director and just yell at her all the time.
Nice.
And that just got picked up, but I have no idea if I'm even able to do that. I was able to do it because it was Warner Brothers was both studios.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that. I might be doing a Disney movie in winter in October.
Okay.
A Christmas movie. So there's some stuff, and I write. I write short stories, and I have a collection you can buy of modern adult fairy tales.
Awesome.
As an
That
ebook
sounds so
that was
cool.
published by a New York a company, and it's called The Cursed Frog and Other Modern Fairy Tales.
Cool.
$2.99, 10 stories, 35
Oh,
pages.
I
totally
love
It's my wacko sense of humor, and
That's
they're very
great.
short. They're very
Yeah.
fairy tale. There's 4 pages, 5 pages, 3 pages.
Keyword
for
there was
adults.
adult.
Yes,
It's adult.
for
It's not for
adults.
kids.
us.
What's it
That's
called?
what I
Tell me
like.
again.
It's called The Cursed Frog
Cursed
and
Frog.
Other Modern Fairy Tales. You can get it on Amazon or iTunes. $2.99. If you don't like it, just skip to the next story. If you don't like it, it's $2.99. Whatever.
Yeah.
The world's
So
most talented person.
I write a sci-fi. I've been writing a sci-fi novel for about 5 years,
Great.
and I'm just
Awesome.
trying to get that right. And just I'm just happy to have this job and happy to be around all these people and have a job.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Man.
Well, we'd love to have you back for season 2 when it comes
Totally.
back.
I live
and,
5 minutes away.
Thank you for being here. It's been
Thank
so
you
much
guys.
fun. Where can the people connect with you online if they want to tell you how much they love your book after they read it?
Oh, well, you can just at Jason Antoon
Perfect.
is on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's just my full name.
Great. How about the rest of y'all on the panel?
Yeah. Chaos.
All right, Chaos J on Twitter, Chaos_Oceans31, 31 flavors of waviness every day, all day on Instagram.
I love it.
Awesome. What's up, guys? This is Mariel Turner. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mariel_Turner.
And guys, I am Jeff Graham. You can find me online at Jeffrey C. Graham. I host a show on Fridays called The Unproduced Table Read, actually where we featured Jason's wife about
That's right.
3 months ago. I was
Yeah.
saying the world's most talented couple. And that's Fridays at 10 a.m. So check that out on the Popcorn Talk Network. Of course, we're here next week for our finale.
Oh, no.
But the good news is the show's back. So we're going to have an amazing finale, take a break. But until then, I'm getting ahead of myself. Please tune in next Monday, 7 p.m. Get in that chat. We love talking to you guys. If you're listening not live, go ahead and comment below. Let us know what you think. Rate us 5 stars. And guys, we love you. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you
Those are
later.
the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.